You've been lied to about habits. Everyone's reading Atomic Habits. Everyone's talking about 1% improvements. Everyone's stacking habits like they're building wealth. But here's what nobody tells you. Those tiny habits you're so proud of might be destroying your life. Not because they're bad habits, because they are the wrong habits. You've been optimizing the wrong machine, getting better at things that don't matter. Wrong direction equals failure. And the worst part, you feel productive doing it. You feel like you're making progress, but you're climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 10 dark truths about habit formation that James Clear didn't emphasize enough. The psychological traps that turn self-improvement into self-imprisonment. The hidden costs that nobody calculates. This isn't about bashing the book. It's about saving you from the dark side of a powerful tool, the identity trap. Atomic Habits tells you to focus on identity. Don't say you want to quit smoking. Say you're not a smoker. Sounds empowering, right? But here's the shadow side nobody discusses. When you attach your identity to your habits, you become fragile. Miss a workout and you're not just someone who skipped a day. You're a failure, a fraud, someone who isn't who they claim to be. The greatest prison people live in is the fear of what other people think. But it gets worse. When your identity is your habits, you can't evolve. What happens when life demands you change? When an injury forces you to stop running? When your business requires you to abandon your sacred morning routine? You don't just lose a habit, you lose yourself. Your identity shatters like glass. The Stoics understood something crucial here. Marcus Aurelius didn't say he was an emperor. He practiced being a good leader while remembering that all roles are temporary. Your habits should serve you, not define you. The moment your habits become your identity, you've built a beautiful cage. And speaking of cages, what if the cage is even smaller than you think? Micro madness. Make it so small you can't fail. 1 push-up, 1 page, 1 minute of meditation. This advice has spread like wildfire, and it's creating a generation of people who are masters of doing almost nothing. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Comfort. That 1 push-up, it's not building strength. It's building the habit of minimal effort. That 1 page, it's teaching your brain that reading is something you survive, not enjoy. You're not training excellence. You're training adequacy. Minimum effort, minimum results. And there's a psychological cost nobody calculates. When you consistently aim low, you wire your brain for low standards. You become someone who celebrates the bare minimum. If this belief hit close to home, hit like and subscribe to reprogram more of these hidden traps, because the next one might be the one holding you back the most. The real magic happens in the stretch zone, that space where you're challenged but not overwhelmed. 1 push-up never touches that zone. It keeps you safe. It keeps you small. But there's an even darker consequence waiting when you stack these micro habits together. Stack attack. Habit stacking. After I brush my teeth, I'll meditate. After I meditate, I'll journal. After I journal, I'll exercise. Sounds efficient. But here's what happens in reality. 1 broken link destroys the entire chain. You oversleep by 20 minutes. Now your whole system collapses. The meditation didn't happen, so the journaling feels wrong, so you skip the exercise, and suddenly you've failed at 4 things instead of 1. Your brain doesn't process this as 1 bad morning. It processes it as complete system failure. And the guilt compounds faster than any habit ever could. Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. But we're not chasing excellence here. We're building fragile systems disguised as optimized routines. The ancient Stoics didn't chain their practices together. They cultivated flexibility. Adapt to the morning you have, not the morning you planned. Real resilience comes from habits that stand alone, each one complete in itself. Miss one and the others remain untouched. But even standalone habits carry a hidden cost that will surprise you. The plateau prison. Systems over goals, they say. Just show up and let the compound effect work its magic. But here's what they don't tell you about compound growth. It requires consistent challenge and progressive overload. Without increasing difficulty, you don't compound. You plateau. That same workout you've done for 2 years, Your body adapted in month 3. You're just burning calories now, not building anything. That morning writing habit. If you never push past comfortable prompts, you're just maintaining a skill, not developing one. Same input, same output. Research in skill acquisition shows that deliberate practice, the kind that actually improves performance, requires operating at the edge of your current ability. Habits, by definition, become automatic. They move to the part of your brain that requires no effort. And no effort means no growth. Without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning. The dark irony is that the more automatic your habit becomes, the less it's doing for you. You've essentially automated stagnation. But wait, there's something even more insidious happening beneath the surface of your perfectly tracked habit streaks. Streak obsession. Don't break the chain. Keep the streak alive. This advice has turned habit tracking into a video game where the score matters more than the substance. Obsession. I've seen people do their habit at 11:59 p.m., exhausted, going through the motions just to keep a number alive. They're not meditating. They're not exercising. They're checking a box. The habit has become meaningless, but the streak is everything. This is the definition of losing the plot. The metric became the master. And here's the psychological damage. When you inevitably break that streak, and you will, the fall is catastrophic. 300 days of building, gone in a moment of food poisoning or emergency. Studies on habit formation show that guilt is one of the most destructive forces for long-term behavior change. The Buddhists have a concept called beginner's mind. Every session is day one, fresh, present, unburdened by the weight of maintaining a number. Streaks measure consistency, but they say nothing about quality, growth, or meaning. And speaking of meaning, there's a crisis brewing that nobody's talking about. Meaning drought. You wake up at 5 a.m. You exercise, meditate, journal, read, and take cold showers. Your habit scorecard is impressive, but answer this honestly. Do you feel more alive or just more optimized? There's a reason Viktor Frankl wrote that life without meaning leads to despair, and habits without meaning lead to the same place, just with better abs. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. The habit gurus focus on how to build, how to stack, how to maintain, but they skip the most important question. Why? Why this habit? What does it connect to? What larger purpose does it serve? I've watched people build elaborate morning routines that have nothing to do with their actual dreams. Busy but not fulfilled. They are efficient at being distracted from what matters. Each habit should be a brick in a cathedral you're building, not random optimization, not productivity theater. Without the cathedral, you're just moving bricks. And this brings us to a failure mode that might surprise you. Flexibility death. Consistency is king, they say. Never miss twice. Be reliable, but life isn't consistent. Life is chaos wearing a thin mask of order, and rigid habits don't survive chaos. They shatter. The storm doesn't care about your morning routine. Consider the bamboo versus the oak. The oak is strong, rigid, impressive. The bamboo bends. When the hurricane comes, the oak snaps while the bamboo survives. Your habits should be bamboo, not oak. Be water, my friend. But Atomic Habits, like most habit literature, emphasizes the rigid. Same time, same place, same cue. This works until it doesn't. Then you're left with shattered routines and no adaptation skills. The Stoics practice something called negative visualization, imagining everything going wrong. Not to be pessimistic, but to build flexibility in advance. What if you trained habits that could happen anywhere, anytime, in any form? A meditation practice that works on the subway. A workout that adapts to a hotel room. Adapt or break. This flexibility isn't weakness. It's antifragility, and it leads us to perhaps the darkest truth of all. Guilt machine. Here's what nobody calculates. The psychological cost of habit failure in a habit-obsessed culture. Every missed workout, every skipped meditation, every broken streak. These accumulate, not as motivation, as guilt. And guilt is poison for long-term change. Shame. The research is clear. Shame-based motivation works short-term but destroys long-term. Yet the entire habit industry runs on subtle shame. Track your habits. See your failures in bright red. Know exactly how many times you didn't show up. You're building a monument to your perceived inadequacy. The Buddhists speak of self-compassion as essential for growth. Miss a practice. Acknowledge it without judgment and return. No red X, no broken streak anxiety, just presence. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. But we've created systems designed to maximize guilt, disguised as accountability. Your habit tracker isn't neutral. It's a judgment machine, and it's judging you constantly. The weight of accumulated failure isn't making you better. It's making you afraid. And fear is a terrible foundation for transformation. But there's another weight that's even heavier. Lost spontaneity. When everything is scheduled, nothing is spontaneous. When every hour serves a habit, no hour serves discovery. Optimized life, empty soul. Some of life's most important moments come from unstructured time. The conversation that changes your perspective. The walk that sparks an idea. The lazy afternoon that restores your spirit. But the habit optimizers have no category for this. Unscheduled time is wasted time. Every moment must serve a system. You've become an algorithm, pretending to be human. The ancient Greeks valued leisure not as laziness, but as essential for philosophy, creativity, and deep thought. Aristotle wrote that the highest human activity was contemplation, which requires exactly the unstructured space that habits eliminate. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. I'm not saying abandon structure. I'm saying leave room for life to surprise you. The best days often come unplanned. The most important decisions emerge from silence, not from the third item on your morning checklist. And this leads us to the final dark truth, the one that ties everything together. The escape fantasy. Here's the darkest truth of all. For many people, habits aren't tools for transformation. They are sophisticated avoidance mechanisms. Escape. Why face your failing marriage when you can optimize your morning routine? Why confront your career dissatisfaction when you can master cold showers? Why deal with childhood trauma when you can journal about gratitude? Habits can become the walls we build around our deepest wounds. The busier we are with self-improvement, the less time we have for self-examination. And self-improvement without self-examination is just productive escapism. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates didn't have a morning routine. He had uncomfortable questions. Questions about meaning, about values, about what actually matters. Activity masks avoidance. Real transformation requires facing what we're running from, not building faster treadmills. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop. Stop optimizing. Stop tracking. Stop improving. And simply ask yourself what you're actually afraid of. That answer matters more than any habit ever could. Atomic Habits is a powerful book. These warnings don't diminish its value, they complete it, because every powerful tool has a shadow side. Fire warms and burns. Medicine heals and poisons. And habits transform and imprison. The goal was never to become a perfect habit machine. It was to become fully human. Use habits as servants, never as masters. Build them with flexibility. Track them without obsession. Stack them without fragility. And always, always remember why you're building them in the first place. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. The wisest practitioners of self-improvement know when to push and when to rest, when to track and when to trust, when to optimize and when to simply live. Habits serve life, not replace it. If you made it this far, comment shadow habits to prove you're seeing the full picture now. Because the real atomic transformation isn't in your habits. It's in your awareness of what those habits actually serve. If this exposed something you needed to see, hit subscribe. There's more uncomfortable truth waiting.